Buddy Franklin today announced a one-year contract extension with the Sydney Swans. He spoke about why he'd agreed to stay after protracted negotiations.
Yeah, there's been a lot of knockers over the years, haven't there, really? Like, when I first got here, people were knocking that I wouldn't get there, I wouldn't make it, I'd play for 4 or 5 years and that'd be it. So I've definitely proved them wrong, haven't I?
Don't often hear that from Buddy, do you? So this deal, Matthew, was agreed to, the money anyway, was agreed to back in August. It was never about the money. Andrew Pridham and Tom Harley kept telling us it was more about whether Lance wanted to play on another year. They insist he was never going anywhere else. Shortly before the qualifying final against Melbourne, where of course he had a pretty miserable night, he came to the club and he said, I want to play on. So the deal was done in the days that led up to the qualifying final. The club's plan was to put it aside and announce it after the finals campaign had ended, whenever it did end, and it was not to be a distraction. And I think what happened in recent days, Craig, is that there was just so much talk about, will this be Lance's last kick? Will this be his last goal? And they just thought it was actually going to be more of a distraction if they didn't announce it, which was why they announced it at the beginning of the Queen's funeral last night.
They're a great club, and I think it's a very smart decision what they've done, Caro. And I've been hard on Buddy at times throughout, but I think when you look at it, because he set such a high standard, I've been probably harder on him than others, but he's kicked 52 goals. So 52 goals is better than probably 3/4 or more, 80-90% of the competition forwards will ever achieve. And Kane, I think he deserves this extra year. Where do you sit with it? Because you have had you said some strong things about him also this year.
Yeah, no doubt, Lordo, but I've never said that he wasn't good enough to be a key player in a good side, which he has been, and he's proven that. So he's earned the contract. I'm fascinated by the scenario around it and why he released that statement during the year, Caro, or towards the back end of the home and away season, that he was putting contract talks on hold. I thought that was a bit individual, and once again, I probably, if I'm being super critical, would think this is an individual thing to do to announce it today, and he should have waited until after the grand final. But that's been incredibly picky on an absolute legend of the game. And
I know you've had a big week yourself, but I think that's really picky. I'm told it was a mutual decision. He certainly pushed it. The club agreed that there was so much talk about him anyway, and would this be his last game, that this would get rid of it.
If you haven't got him in the top 200...
Why did he release the... Sorry, Hutchie, why did he release a statement during the year, Caro, that under no circumstances was he signing until the end of the season?
Well, he didn't want to play. I think wasn't sure whether he wanted to play next year. Both sides insist it wasn't about the money. I can only take them at face value. Clearly, he's taken a big pay cut.
Well, Lee Matthews was one of those that was questioning how he was going only a week ago.
To me, I reckon Buddy he's looking old to me. Just over the last month, all of a sudden, someone said to me once that you can look old overnight. And I reckon Buddy is now looking like a player, as he should be, sort of 35, 36 years of age, that's starting to age. And I suspect you would concern yourself with what he's capable of doing next year.
A quick one on that, Kane, before we leave the topic. You didn't have him in your top 200 and he's 36, so you can't sit there and say you think it's a good decision that he's playing on.
Hutchie, there's 800 players in the competition. Being 200th player out of 800 is still elite. I don't see how that's a criticism. That's just a fact of where you get to at that age. Being a top 200 player in the game is still a fantastic achievement, and still means that you are well inside your team's best players if you do the maths on that. So I'm not sure why that criticism and comment has been taken so out of context.
Well, Kane, the player he's going to play on is Sam De Koning, and I can't wait for this battle because you had a guy who's in his second year of football, played one game last year, 22 this year. He, along with others, has transformed the Geelong Football Club this year. Without him, I don't know if they'd be in the grand final. That's how important he has been for Geelong, taking down everyone. And I watched his defensive, you can see him getting loose here, but some of his defensive spoiling was as good as you'll see. He's quick, he's agile, and the Franklin v De Koning matchup, that would worry, it'll worry De Koning, but it'll also worry Buddy Franklin big time about a kid who's this athletic going up against him on the biggest day of all.